I was sitting on a bench at Encanto Park when my vision started to blur. My hands were shaking. I couldn't catch my breath. The morning sun felt too bright, too sharp, like needles pressing into my skull. Then everything went black. When I opened my eyes, a woman was kneeling beside me, her fingers wrapped around my wrist. "What are you doing?" I pulled my arm back. "My son gave me this." She stopped. Her eyes met mine, and I saw something there I didn't expect. Not guilt, not embarrassment. Fear. "That watch," she said quietly, "is why you collapsed. I know because the same thing happened to me 3 months ago. Your son isn't protecting you. He's controlling you. I'm so grateful you're here with me today." Before we go any further, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from right now? Drop a comment and let me know your city or country. I'd love to hear from you. One quick note before we continue. Some parts of this story have been adjusted for narrative flow. Any similarity to real people is coincidental, but the lesson at the heart of this story is absolutely real. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. My name is Richard Coleman, and for 32 years, I worked as an aerospace engineer at Boeing's facility outside Phoenix. I loved that job. The precision of it, the logic, the way every component had to fit perfectly, or the whole system would fail. I understood machines. I understood how things worked. What I never quite understood was people. My wife Eleanor used to joke about that. She'd say I could design a navigation system for a spacecraft but couldn't navigate a dinner party conversation to save my life. She was right. Eleanor was always right about things like that. She was the warmth in our home, the one who remembered birthdays and kept friendships alive and made sure our son Daniel felt loved even when I was buried in blueprints and deadlines. Eleanor passed away 4 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. By the time they found it, there was nothing anyone could do. She was gone within 8 weeks. I retired 6 months after that. The house felt too quiet. The job felt too empty. Everything I'd built my life around suddenly seemed meaningless without her there to share it. Daniel called me every Sunday for a while. He's a cardiologist in San Francisco now. Successful, driven, the kind of son any father would be proud of. But the calls grew shorter over time, then less frequent. I understood. He had his own life, his own patients, his own concerns. I didn't want to be a burden, so I learned to live alone. I walked every morning at Encanto Park. I read books Eleanor had loved. I volunteered at the Veterans Center downtown, helping older guys navigate the VA system. It wasn't much of a life, but it was mine. Then, 3 weeks ago, Daniel called with news that changed everything. "Dad, I'm coming to Phoenix." I nearly dropped my coffee. "What?" "When?" "This weekend. I've taken some time off from the practice. I want to spend it with you." There was something in his voice I couldn't quite identify. Urgency, maybe, or calculation, but I pushed that thought away. My son wanted to visit. That was all that mattered. I picked him up at Sky Harbor on Friday evening. He looked different than I remembered. Sharper somehow. His clothes were expensive, his posture precise. When he hugged me, it felt rehearsed, like he was performing a gesture he'd seen in a movie. "You look good, Dad," he said, studying my face. "Healthy." "I feel good," I told him. "Keeping busy." We drove home mostly in silence. Daniel asked about the house, about the neighborhood, about whether I was still volunteering. His questions felt more like an interview than a conversation, but I told myself I was imagining things. That night after dinner, Daniel sat me down in the living room. "Dad, I need to talk to you about something important." My heart tightened. In my experience, conversations that start that way never end well. "I've been worried about you," he continued. "Living alone at your age, with your history of high blood pressure, it keeps me up at night." "Daniel, I'm 64, not 90. I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself." "I know, Dad. I know." He reached into his bag and pulled out a sleek black box. "That's why I brought you this." He opened the box. Inside was a watch. Not an ordinary watch, but something that looked like it belonged in a science fiction movie. The band was dark gray metal, smooth and seamless. The face was a small digital display that glowed faintly blue. "It's called the VitaTrack Pro," Daniel explained. "The most advanced personal health monitor on the market. It tracks your heart rate, blood oxygen, sleep patterns, stress levels. If anything abnormal happens, it sends an alert directly to my phone." I stared at the device. "This must have cost a fortune." "Don't worry about that. Your health is worth more than any amount of money." He lifted the watch from its case. "I need you to wear it all the time, Dad, even when you sleep. The sensors require constant skin contact to work properly. Can you promise me that?" The watch felt heavier than it looked when he clasped it around my wrist. The metal was cold against my skin. "Of course," I said. "Thank you, Daniel. This is very thoughtful." He smiled, and for a moment, I thought I saw something flicker behind his eyes. But then it was gone. "I'm just taking care of you, Dad. That's what family does." Daniel stayed for 3 days. During that time, he reorganized my kitchen cabinets, threw away half my pantry claiming the food was inflammatory, and installed some kind of app on my phone that he said would help him monitor my health data remotely. "I'll be able to see your readings in real time," he explained. "If your heart rate spikes or your oxygen drops, I'll know immediately." After he left, the house felt different. Emptier, somehow, but also more crowded. Like I was being watched. The symptoms started 4 days later. I woke up at 3 in the morning with my heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. My sheets were soaked with sweat. I lay there in the darkness, convinced I was having a heart attack. But then, after about 20 minutes, it passed. My heart slowed. My breathing normalized. I told myself it was just a nightmare, just anxiety, nothing to worry about. The next night, it happened again. And the night after that. During the day, I felt exhausted, foggy. Simple tasks took twice as long. I'd forget what I was doing mid-sentence. I'd stand in front of the refrigerator with no memory of why I'd opened it. I called Daniel. "That's completely normal, Dad," he said calmly. "Your body is adjusting to the monitoring. The watch is collecting baseline data on your sleep patterns. Sometimes that process can cause temporary disruptions, but I feel terrible. Worse than I've felt in years. Trust me, I'm a cardiologist. I know what I'm talking about. Just keep wearing the watch and the symptoms will stabilize." I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was my son. He was a doctor. But the symptoms didn't stabilize. They got worse. My friend Marcus noticed first. We'd been meeting for coffee every Tuesday morning for the past 2 years. He's a retired firefighter, 71 years old, sharp as a tack, and he doesn't miss much. "Richard, you look like death warmed over," he said bluntly, sliding into the booth across from me. "What's going on?" I told him about the watch, about the symptoms, about Daniel's reassurances. Marcus listened without interrupting. When I finished, he leaned forward. "Can I be honest with you?" "Always. Something doesn't add up. You were healthy 3 weeks ago. Now you look like you haven't slept in a month. The only thing that's changed is that watch." He pointed at my wrist. "Have you tried taking it off?" "Daniel said I need to wear it constantly for the sensors to work." "Daniel's not here, Richard. And from what you're telling me, Daniel might be part of the problem." I felt defensive. "He's my son. He's trying to help me. Maybe." Marcus's eyes were steady. "Or maybe he's got reasons you don't know about. Just think about it. That's all I'm asking." That night, I thought about it. I thought about how Daniel had insisted I wear the watch even while sleeping. I thought about how the symptoms had started exactly 4 days after I put it on. I thought about how every time I complained, Daniel had an explanation ready. Too ready. Around 2 in the morning, I made a decision. I unclasped the watch and set it on my nightstand. The relief was almost immediate. Not dramatic, not miraculous, but real. The pressure in my chest eased. My breathing deepened. Within 30 minutes, I fell into the most restful sleep I'd had in weeks. I woke up feeling like myself again. I stared at the watch sitting on my nightstand, its small screen glowing faintly in the morning light. What the hell was that thing actually doing to me? My phone buzzed. A text. From Daniel. "Dad, the watch shows you removed it at 2:14 a.m. Is everything okay?" Please put it back on immediately. I didn't respond. Instead, I drove to Encanto Park for my morning walk. I needed to think. I needed to clear my head without that device strapped to my wrist. I was sitting on my usual bench, watching the ducks on the pond. When it happened, the dizziness hit me like a wave. My vision tunneled. My heart raced. I tried to stand, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. Then everything went dark. When I opened my eyes, a woman was kneeling beside me. Her fingers were wrapped around my wrist. "That watch," she said, "is why you collapsed." Her name was Patricia Reeves. She was 58 years old, a retired nurse, and she'd been through exactly what I was experiencing. 3 months ago, my daughter gave me the same device. She explained as we sat together on the bench. Different brand name, same technology. She said it was for my health. Within 2 weeks, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think straight. I was having panic attacks for the first time in my life. What happened? A friend of mine is an electrical engineer. He analyzed the watch. Patricia's voice dropped. There was a component inside that wasn't supposed to be there. It was emitting a low-frequency electromagnetic pulse designed to disrupt sleep patterns and elevate cortisol levels. I felt cold. Why would anyone do that? Control. The word hung in the air between us. My daughter wanted power of attorney over my finances. She needed me to seem incompetent, confused, unable to manage my own affairs. The watch was supposed to make that happen. How did you find out? I collapsed, just like you. Right over there by the water fountain, a stranger helped me, told me to take off the watch. When I did, I started getting better. Then I started asking questions. She paused. My daughter is in prison now. Conspiracy to commit elder abuse. Fraud. The FBI found a whole network. Dozens of victims. I looked down at my bare wrist. The same network? I don't know. But the technology is identical. And the pattern is the same. She met my eyes. You need to find out what your son is really doing. Before it's too late. That afternoon, I called Marcus. I need your help, I said. And I need you to believe me even if what I'm about to tell you sounds crazy. He listened to everything. When I finished, he didn't hesitate. I know someone, he said. Former colleague of mine. Works in electronic surveillance now. Private sector. He can analyze that watch. Can you trust him? With my life. And yours. 2 days later, Marcus and I sat in the office of Thomas Chen, a thin man in his 50s with kind eyes and a laboratory full of equipment I didn't recognize. Your friend was right, Thomas said, laying the disassembled watch on his workbench. There's a secondary component embedded beneath the main circuit board. It's designed to emit targeted electromagnetic frequencies that interfere with normal brain function. Specifically, it disrupts the production of melatonin and elevates stress hormones. For how long? I asked. The longer you wear it, the more cumulative the effect. Another month or two, and you'd be experiencing significant cognitive decline, memory issues, confusion, paranoia. He looked at me grimly. You'd seem like you had early-stage dementia. Can you prove this? I can document everything. But Richard, this isn't just a faulty product. This is deliberate. Someone programmed this device specifically to harm you. I already knew who that someone was. But knowing and proving are two different things. I contacted Patricia again. She connected me with her lawyer, a woman named Sandra Okonkwo, who specialized in elder abuse cases. Sandra was direct. We can build a case, she said, but we need more evidence. We need to understand why your son did this. What was he hoping to gain? The answer came faster than I expected. 3 days later, I received a call from my accountant. Mr. Coleman, I'm reaching out because your son contacted me last week. He was asking about the process for establishing a conservatorship over your finances. He said, "You've been showing signs of cognitive decline." My blood ran cold. What did you tell him? I told him I'd need documentation, medical evaluations, legal paperwork. The accountant paused. Mr. Coleman, is everything okay? I thanked him and hung up. Then I sat in my kitchen and let the reality wash over me. My son was trying to steal my life. Sandra filed a police report. The Phoenix PD referred the case to the FBI's Elder Abuse Task Force. Agent Rebecca Torres took the lead. "Mr. Coleman, your son isn't working alone," she told me during our first meeting. "The technology in that watch has been traced to an overseas manufacturer, linked to a criminal network we've been investigating for months. Your son appears to be one of several individuals who purchased these devices specifically to incapacitate elderly relatives." Why? I couldn't understand it. I would have helped him if he needed money. I would have given him anything. For some of these perpetrators, it's not about the money itself. It's about control, about taking what they feel entitled to without asking. She leaned forward. "We want to arrest your son, but we need your cooperation to build an airtight case." I cooperated. The FBI monitored my communications with Daniel. They recorded his increasingly urgent calls demanding I put the watch back on. They documented his attempts to access my bank accounts, his inquiries with assisted living facilities, his conversations with a lawyer about emergency guardianship proceedings. "Your father is deteriorating rapidly," he told the lawyer in one recorded call. "I need to move quickly before he becomes a danger to himself." I wasn't deteriorating. I was healing. But Daniel didn't know that. The arrest happened on a Thursday morning in San Francisco. Daniel was taken into custody at his medical practice, in front of his colleagues and patients. The charges were federal: conspiracy to commit elder abuse, wire fraud, assault with a dangerous device. His bail was denied. The trial lasted 6 days. I testified on the second day. I told the jury everything: the watch, the symptoms, the discovery, the betrayal. "I trusted my son," I said, my voice steady. "I would have trusted him with my life. He used that trust as a weapon against me." Thomas Chen testified about the technology. Patricia testified about her own experience. Agent Torres presented the evidence of the international network, now dismantled, that had supplied these devices to dozens of perpetrators across 3 countries. Daniel's defense lawyer tried to argue that he'd been misled, that he didn't understand what the watch actually did. But the recorded conversations proved otherwise. He knew exactly what he was doing. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Daniel was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. He'll be nearly 50 when he gets out. I watched them lead him away in handcuffs. He didn't look at me. He didn't say goodbye. That night, I sat alone in my house, the house Eleanor and I had built together, and I let myself grieve. Not for Daniel as he is now, but for the son I thought I had, for the relationship I thought we'd built, for the future I'd imagined, growing old with grandchildren around me, knowing my family loved me. That future is gone now. I've accepted that, but a different future has taken its place. Patricia and I have become close, not romantically, but as survivors. We understand each other in a way others can't. We've started speaking at community centers and senior groups, warning people about the signs of technology-enabled abuse. We've partnered with Sandra and Agent Torres to push for stronger legislation protecting elderly victims. Marcus still meets me for coffee every Tuesday. He saved my life, and he won't let me forget it. "You're too stubborn to die," he tells me. "That's your superpower." Last month, I returned to volunteering at the Veterans Center. The work feels meaningful again. Important. I'm helping people navigate systems designed to confuse them, just as others helped me navigate the nightmare my son created. I've learned things about myself these past months. I've learned that I'm stronger than I knew, that asking for help isn't weakness, that trusting the wrong person isn't a moral failure. It's a human mistake, one that anyone can make. Most importantly, I've learned the difference between love and control. Love gives you freedom. Love respects your choices. Love wants you to thrive on your own terms. Control disguises itself as concern. Control monitors and restricts and isolates. Control says, "I'm doing this for your own good," while slowly destroying your ability to know what good even means. If you're watching this, and something in your life feels wrong, something a family member is doing, something a caregiver insists on, trust that feeling. Ask questions. Talk to friends. See a doctor who isn't connected to the person controlling you. Don't wait until you collapse on a park bench. Don't wait until a stranger has to save you. I was lucky. Not everyone is. If this story resonated with you, please leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. And if you know someone who might be in a similar situation, share this video with them. It might save their life. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Your presence here means more than you know. Before we go, I want to mention that our next story contains some fictional elements crafted for educational purposes. If difficult topics aren't what you need right now, that's perfectly okay. Choose content that serves you. There's no judgment here. God bless you all.